Barcelona, it's been an interesting season for them.
Up and down?
There's, it feels strange to say that maybe it's not a bad season, but it's also not what we expect from them. They're sitting in 4th place right now in La Liga. They're coming off a 1-1 draw against Rayo Vallecano over the weekend. It hasn't been as convincing. What's with Barcelona this season?
So for sure, injuries. That's probably the biggest one. And once they get the 2 men that you just saw on the screen, and Frankie de Jong and Pedri back functioning to 100%, this team will look different. Having said that, though, they're going through a gauntlet starting today because they have to beat Porto. There's actually a situation that they can go into this match knowing that both teams can draw to qualify, so they can just pass the ball around. But we'll get that we'll get there if that happens. After this, they have Atletico Madrid and Girona. And in this time where it hasn't been convincing, Chavi himself even admitted post-game after Rayo Vallecano that there's been a significant drop-off. The excuses were a little bland, to be honest, for the sake of Barcelona. Nonetheless, he's trying to get the most out of this team, and he has it, and he has to prove. This is like that point in the season where we're going to go, okay, what happened in this last month or so was just a bit of a slump, which can happen to any team. But they have to keep up because there are teams.
They lost to Shakhtar.
Yeah,
They drew to Rayo Vallecano.
You can't hate on Shakhtar.
I'm not hating on Shakhtar.
Madrid also drew to Rayo Vallecano.
Yeah, also watch football must go on.
So,
but I mean, this is a rough run. Okay, you beat Deportivo Alves 2-1. And what are their current injuries? They got Gavi, who's going to be out for a long period of time. Ter Stegen.
No, but Gavi's fine. Ter Stegen's a big one. Ter Stegen is massive.
Huge. Okay, but is it enough where you should have this significant of a drop-off?
Frankie de Jong is one of their best midfielders. Pedri's their best midfielder. Pedri's the one that dictates all the tempo. Yeah,
I agree. But what I'm saying is, with this squad, should be beating a Rayo Vallecano, even with a couple injuries. They should be beating a Shakhtar Donetsk easily.
Look at Real Madrid against Cadiz. They took care of them without Vinicius Jr., without some of their best players, and Camavinga, Tchouaméni, right? You expect more from Barcelona, 100%.
This has been a down season. I wouldn't say it's been a slump. This has been a down season for them. They should be fighting for the top 2.
They lost in the Clásico.
Yes, it should be them right now, and they lost in big fashion in the Clásico.
No, they didn't. In the 90th minute, they lost.
That's in big fashion.
Yeah, no, big fashion is 5-0, 3-0, 2-0.
What I'm saying is they should be fighting.
They can flip the season here, though. Given all of that, what you're saying, and I agree, they should be getting better results.
Yes.
In this stretch of games, they can wrap up Champions League qualification today. They can get a result against Atletico Madrid and Girona, 2 teams that are in fine form. And all of these doubts that we have around Barcelona, right, going into Christmas, we could be like, okay, they took care of business. It's their opportunity to do that. But they could.
What did you say yesterday? Because I was going to say they could turn the corner, but what did you say yesterday? It's a really long corner.
Yeah.
You said that about something else. A wide corner. I feel like they can begin the turn. And Girona is not in top shape. They just drew at home. But yes, this could be the beginning of a turn, but this is a very big turn. And I think Xavi has a lot to prove. I believe he's a great manager. I think he showed it in the Mideast. I think he showed it at earlier stints with Barcelona. But all these questions about Barcelona, pulling levers, can they keep this sort of team going? Robert Lewandowski, not getting younger, still looks great, but not getting younger. I mean, there's a lot of questions, and it's not going to get easier for this team. They need to put something together, and so I really think that the fan base wants a trophy this season. They're going to need either to win.
That's the default setting for Barca.
But they're not at home. They're not at Camp Nou. There's still the excuses are starting to wear away. Something is needed, and I think getting to the knockout stages probably going to be easy.
But is this Barcelona team a legitimate Champions League contender? Like, I don't.
Their current shape, no.
Yeah.
And I think that FC Porto are a threat.
Yes. The squad,
historically, absolutely. Yeah. But is this a team, do you see this being a team that can kind of, based on their previous success in this competition, sort of rise to the occasion?
I think that experience will only take you so far if you don't actually have the tools at your disposal when you need to show up. And unfortunately, that's what happens in Champions League. We're seeing a lot of injuries at this juncture. I don't think I see Robert Lewandowski putting this entire team on his back, but that's kind of what it looks like it's going to have to be done. FC Porto have bounced a lot of big sides out of Champions League in the past. I think that it's going to be perilous.
Dude, it's going to be, I mean, think
Porto
of the
is
financial collapse
no
that would
slouch.
happen at Barca if they don't get far enough in the group stages. And we keep talking
But realistically,
about
they haven't been in a good way in seasons, both front office and on pitch. They've had hiccups, either simultaneously or individually occurring, that have kind of set them in a bad way. And so eventually, hopefully, they will steer out of it. But, I mean, the current state that they are in,
How far
including
did they get
injuries,
last year?
Barcelona crashed out of
Group 16?
No, Barcelona crashed out of the group stage last year.
Group stage, that's right.
They lost in that group with Bayern and Inter and whatnot, and then they went into the Europa League.
Yeah, I don't think this is a.
reach the
this
semifinals
feels.
of the Europa League.
I don't know. I know they won La Liga. I know, but
You have to make rounds. There's no excuse at this point. You can't go back to back seasons dropping into the Europa League. Like that's not okay.
no.